course, the big feature that we're all waiting for comes up on Saturday from the Gardens, and it is the second running of the 7:15 500k to the winner. Miss Esme took out the inaugural running last year, and here's the market for this year's final. Zipping Orlando at 320, Palawa King 360, Punters Band at 380, Zipping Whiskey 750, and Nangar Rocket at 850. The runners in single figures. We're going to take a look at the heat winners, and Play Nice is the first of them. Tim Britton, as we were just mentioning with Patch Adams, has a really strong hand here in the final, but perhaps the box draw's touch gone against. Play Nice winning here, gets box 8 in the final, took the lead early and just they couldn't get past it. Play Nice in the end. Really tough win, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. He was brave, up on speed. Had to work to eventually get to the front into that first turn. That's probably the concern with him drawn out there in box 8. Whether he can get over from that draw, I guess, remains to be seen. But he did a terrific job to be able to hold off greyhounds like Callball Magic, who was chasing, and, of course, Zipping Whiskey, who were both seriously powerful stayers. So to be able to hold those two off, a terrific performance. But just as I said, the draw isn't ideal on Saturday, but certainly can't knock that winning heat run the other night. Here we're looking at heat number 2, Zipping Orlando and Punters Bandit. They're at the top of the market for Saturday night's race, and they're probably it's probably the way that the staying ranks have sort of gone recently, and these two are sheer speed stayers. We look at a greyhound like Super Estrella. From the middle of last year, she was in that sort of boat as well, and these two are along that line. Punters Bandit and Zipping Orlando, they both got dazzling speed, certainly getting stronger at the end of the 7:15. I wouldn't say they run a strong 7:15 just as yet, but they're getting better and better, and you can see Zipping Orlando probably just a little better adept at the end of the race. He, of course, won the Group 1 Association Cup, so they're major players because they're going to be right there on the speed early.
So that's Play Nice and Zipping Orlando. On the off is the next one we're going to take a look at. Another one for Team Britain. Draws box 3 in the final. Led throughout, but this was the slowest of the heats here, Jacko.
Yeah, he bounded to the front and then took luck out of the equation. You'll see a couple behind him got into a little bit of trouble, particularly coming to that home turn, including Tiger Jack, who looked the winner, but he just didn't get around that last turn without laying in on top of quarter. And all credit to on the off, he led. Showman Jack, of course, the country classic winner over 600, was there to challenge off the back straight, but he dug deep, was able to beat him off and then kick strongly into the straight and went all the way. With that early speed, if he can put himself right there on Saturday, it's going to give him a great chance, but he's certainly going to be one of the outsiders in the 7:15.
Okay, Wheel and Go is next. This was the next of the heats. Draws box 7 final. And I'll ask you this question. I think, although the time wasn't super flash, probably runs a better time, if not for that little check we just saw at the first turn. Would you say that's a fair comment?
Yeah, for sure. It would have had to have made some effect on him, but yeah, all credit to him. He had to chase the very fast Nangar Rocket, and he was chasing for the entirety of the race, but was still able to be too strong late in the piece. He did get the inside run on the home turn, and he did the rest. So whether he's going to be good enough come Saturday up in grade against some greyhounds that are probably a little bit stronger at the end of the 700 than what Nangar Rocket is, but if he can put himself there, negotiate that draw from out wide, he's certainly a winning chance, no question about that.
And the last of the heat winners, and perhaps the most visually impressive and backed up on the clock as well, Palawa King for Jack Smith. Draws box 1 in the final. Quickest of the qualifiers, as mentioned, and put a really, really good margin on them. How do you make the chances of Palawa King now going into the final?
Yeah, he's going to get every chance, particularly from the draw. And Jack and Marie, they know what it takes to win this race. Of course, they won the inaugural running last year with Miss Esme, and I guess we all famously remember that story where Marie, who was taking Miss Esme to the track, broke down and then was picked up by just a regular person who was able to get her there, and then Miss Esme went on and did the rest. She had box 1 on that occasion. Palawa King's got box 1 again on Saturday, and this is a greyhound that early on his career, he always looked like he was going to be a really good stayer. He had a couple of staying runs, probably didn't perform as expected, came back to the 500, found really good form. A couple of his performances over 500 were outstanding. Stepped back up in trip, and yeah, he was brilliant the other night. He's drawn to get a perfect run with a little bit of speed outside of him, and he's certainly going to be right in the race. If there was one little question mark on him that I've got, it might be that he could just be a little bit vulnerable at the end of the 7:15, but the form he's in, he's certainly the one to beat for mine.
Team Smith, of course, going for that back-to-back win, taking out the inaugural last year. Not sure if we'll get the same kind of fairy tale story there and how Miss Esme got to the track, but it's almost shades of the Lacogiani team, who kept winning the $1 million chase early on, albeit not for the same prize money, but it's, to be fair, not that far off. But they've got a great chance again here in the final. Jacko, your top tip for the 7:15 this Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm siding with Zipping Whiskey from a price standpoint. I think this is a greyhound that I guess he's promised to be in these races for a long time and arguably to be one of the premier stayers in the country. And it's taken a long time for the penny to drop for him, but his last few starts, we're really starting to see the real Zipping Whiskey. He was terrific last week. Maybe you can make the case that he probably should have won that heat, but alas, he's got through. I think he's drawn okay. There's plenty of speed inside him. Zipping Orlando, Padawa King, Punters Benedette and Nangar Rocket, they all fly early. And I think if he can jump cleanly enough, slot in behind them, there might just be a little bit of trouble. And if he can be close enough down the back, those greyhounds I just mentioned, they're all a little bit vulnerable at the end of the 7:15. And one thing we know for sure with this guy is he's very, very powerful late in the race. So if he's close enough, I think he can get over the top of them, and at around 7:50, I think he's well worth a play in the 7:15. That's number 6, Zipping Whiskey on Saturday night.